And the last section of this lesson involves with doing the discriminant. And there's going to be two types of questions that you'll need to answer for this. One is telling me the number of solutions that there are for a trinomial without solving it. And the second one is giving me the value of k that gives either 0, 1, or 2 solutions. So to start off, the discriminant is a part of the quadratic formula, the part inside the square root. So the part of the quadratic formula inside the square root. And if we look at our formula, that ends up being b squared minus 4ac. And we call that the discriminant. So if b squared minus 4ac is negative, so is less than 0, which is what we saw in that last example from the last section, then there's no solutions because we can't take the square root of a negative number. If b squared minus 4ac ends up equaling exactly 0, there's one solution. Because that plus or minus the square root of 0, well, adding 0 or subtracting 0 is exactly the same thing. So we end up with just one solution. If it's greater than 0, so if it's a positive number, then we have two solutions because we can take the plus and the minus version of the square root of b squared minus 4ac. So here's some examples. Without solving, determine the number of solutions. Okay, so again, we're going to need the values for a, b, and c. A in this case is 1, b is 30, and c is 10. All right, so we just go b squared minus 4ac. So that's going to be 30 squared minus 4 times 1 times 10. And that's going to be 900 minus 4 times 1 times 10 is 40, which is equal to 860, which is definitely bigger than 0. So a positive number means that there's two solutions. The next questions, we have a equals 2, b equals 3, c equals 3. We write out our discriminant, and we substitute for a, c, 3. So we have 9 minus 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. 9 minus 24 equals negative 15, which is less than 0. And we can't have a negative in that square root, so there are 0 solutions. Okay, last one. A is 1, b is negative 6, and c is 9. So I'll write out the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. B is negative 6. A is 1, c is 9. So 6 times 6, negative times negative is a positive, minus 4 times 1 is 4, times 9 is 36. 36 minus 36 equals 0. So there is just one solution. And you might see this written as there is one real solution versus this you might see as two imaginary solutions. Or it might say no real solutions. That all means the same thing. Okay, so that's type 1 with the discriminant. Type 2 with the discriminant is when there's questions with a k. So this one's saying determine the value of k so that 4x squared plus 24x plus k has one real solution. All right, so same thing. A equals 4, b equals 24, and c equals k. And okay, one real solution. So that means that my discriminant, if it has one real solution, is exactly equal to 0. So I'm going to have 24 squared minus 4 times k equals 0. 24 squared, k, 24 times 24 is 576. Whoa, 5, that's a 576. minus, well, 4 times 4 is 16k equals 0. And I'm just going to use algebra, so I'm going to subtract 5, 7, 6 from each side. And I'm going to get negative 16k equals negative 5, 7, 6. And I'll divide each side by negative 16 to solve for k. And so I get k equals negative 576 divided by negative 16 equals 36. So that's my answer. K has to equal 36 in order for that equation to only have one solution. Okay, this one has no roots. So remember, roots is the same thing as solutions for x. So we're saying that this has no solutions for x. Or you might also see it written as imaginary solutions for x. So that means that my b squared minus 4ac, so if it has no roots, that means that it's negative, which means that it's less than 0. Okay, and my a in this case is k, my b is 24, and my c is 6. So I'm just going to substitute those in. So that's going to be 24 squared minus 4k 6 is less than 0. 24 times 24 from last question, that's 576. 4 times k times 6 is 24k less than 0. Okay, so to solve for this, again, I'm going to subtract 576 from both sides. So that gives me with negative 24k less than negative 576. Okay, and now I need to divide by negative 24 on each side. And so that's going to give me k is greater than 576 divided by 24 is 24. Now notice, I hope you noticed, that this inequality flipped over. So it changed sides. And that happens, so we get this changes to this, and vice versa, when you divide or multiply by a negative. In case you forgot. Okay, and last example. Okay, 2 roots. So that means that the discriminant has to be greater than 0, because it has to be positive. In this case, we have a equaling 4. B is k, because that's in front of the x, and c is 6. So I'm going to substitute those in, so I get k squared minus 4 times 6 is greater than 0. So that's going to be k squared minus k 4 times 4 is 16 times 6 is 96. It's greater than 0. And if I just add 96 to each side, I get that k squared is greater than 96. So I just need to take the square root. And I get that k is greater than the square root of 96. You can leave it like that as an exact answer, or you can also type that into your calculator and tell me that k is greater than about 9.80 if you round. Either of those answers will be acceptable. And that is the end of our lesson for section 2.